I remember the exact moment it happened. A quiet Sunday afternoon, sunlight streaming through the blinds, the kind of day that should have been peaceful, ordinary, family-filled. We were sitting in the living room, my wife beside me, our children playing on the floor. I thought we were happy. I thought we were a family. Then, like a punch to the gut, it came. One of my children, my little girl, just 9 years old, looked up at me with a strange seriousness I had never seen. And with a voice that was eerily calm, she said, "You're not really our dad, you know." For a moment I laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke. Kids say things. They misinterpret. They exaggerate. But the next words made my blood run cold. "Mom says you're not our real dad. She says we have another one somewhere." I froze. My chest tightened. My heart felt like it had stopped. I looked at my wife, disbelief written all over my face. She didn't flinch, didn't apologize, didn't even try to soften the blow. She just nodded. "I thought it was time you knew," she said. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to ask why, how, when. But something in me stopped. Not because I didn't feel the betrayal, not because I didn't feel the heartbreak, but because the truth had cut deeper than words. For years, I had been their dad. I had changed diapers, read bedtime stories, wiped tears, cheered at soccer games, stayed up all night when they were sick. I had been there for every milestone, every triumph, every heartbreak. And now, suddenly, I was nothing. I felt the rage bubbling, the betrayal, the humiliation. But instead of lashing out, I did something unexpected. I stood up. I walked away. Not in anger, not in surrender, but in quiet, deliberate self-respect. "You know what?" I said quietly. "If that's how you feel, if that's what you want me to be, then I'll leave. I've been a dad for 9 years. I've loved, I've cared, I've protected, and no one can take that from me. But I won't stay in a house where I'm not wanted, where my presence is just a reminder of what isn't real." I packed a bag, not angrily, not in a rush, just deliberately, silently. My kids didn't understand. My wife didn't speak. She had expected tears, desperation, a fight. She had expected me to beg for the family I had built. I didn't. I walked out. The first days were surreal. I moved into a small apartment, slept little, and thought even less. I replayed every memory, every smile, every tear. The betrayal burned, but alongside it grew something else. Clarity. Strength. A realization that my worth wasn't determined by the approval of people who chose to erase me from their lives. Friends called. They tried to console me. "You're still their dad," they said. "Blood isn't everything. You raised them. You love them. That counts." I wanted to believe them, but it didn't matter. Not then. What mattered was that I had chosen myself, that I had chosen my dignity, my sanity, my life. Weeks later, I began to rebuild. I focused on work, on hobbies, on friendships I had neglected. I started exercising again, laughing again, sleeping again. Slowly, painfully, I rediscovered the person I had been before this betrayal. Strong, capable, worthy. My wife tried to reach out. Tentative texts, calls, even one time showing up at my door. But I didn't respond. I had already made the choice. I would no longer allow someone who had undermined me to dictate my happiness. Eventually, the truth came out. I learned that she had been unfaithful for years, that my children, biologically yes, but emotionally, had been manipulated to question my place in their lives. That was the final confirmation I needed. Walking away wasn't abandonment. It was liberation. It wasn't easy. Some nights the loneliness gnawed at me. Some days I questioned my choice. But every time I remembered that moment, the cold, casual words that should have shattered me, I smiled. Quietly, because I had risen above. Walking away didn't erase the past, it didn't undo the love I had given, but it gave me control over my future, my dignity, and my self-respect. Years later, I'm still single, still living alone, still making my own decisions. But I'm free. Free from betrayal, free from manipulation, free from the people who thought they could define my worth. And I'm proud of it. Because sometimes walking away isn't weakness. It isn't failure. It's the bravest thing you can do when the people you love try to erase you. They told me I wasn't their real dad. I walked away. And in walking away, I became the realest version of myself.